and I was playing Bach, and then I just walk off, and then it's quiet, and then, whew, just like, and then it cuts off, and I was like, it's a good thing that wasn't for anything. But anyways, morning. Yeah, how are you? I'm doing fine. It's warm. I'm sorry that it's warm here. But we are doing excerpts today, right? Mozart 39, fourth movement?
Yes.
All right. And is this in preparation for an audition? Just had one, or just the continuous work? That is an excerpt.
A little bit of all, yeah.
Okay.
I just played this for an audition, and then now it's summertime, so I'm just going to continue working.
Okay, great.
throughout the summer.
Do you want to just play through it and we can go from there?
Mhm.
Okay, great. All right, good. How'd you feel playing it?
I felt like I didn't have much time to warm up today,
Okay.
and
No worries.
I felt nervous.
Good. I will say good, because I too am trying to break the association with nervousness being bad.
Right.
Because nervous means we care, and of course we don't want it to take over, but at the same time, nerves are not our enemy. But so I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you felt kind of nervous. Were you feeling tense?
Kind of nervous, a little tense, like I didn't set myself up enough before starting.
Okay. Well, what I heard overall was there was whatever you felt in terms of feeling tense and stuff, it did not necessarily come across that way, at least externally. But I do think there was room for more, I think, expression. I saw that you had written joyful on the beginning of the excerpt, and I think you could definitely have a lot more fun with it, and I think a lot of that can be carried out through highlighting the harmonies even more.
Okay.
Would you actually, since it's not terribly long, would you mind playing through it one more time, or do you feel warmed up enough right now?
Now I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think let's give it another try.
Yes, that'd be great. Already it's feeling more free in the right arm. There was a little bit of coordination, but I'm not terribly worried about that. I think the most important thing that I would like to hear next is just really exaggerating more direction, both in the phrasing but and in the harmony, which kind of work together. We'll see if I don't embarrass myself doing it. But even from the very beginning, that micro phrase of there's always this, with Mozart, there's always that tongue in cheek, I saw a video of Hadlick talking about one of the Mozart concerti, and he was saying that all Mozart is opera, and that is something that I very wholeheartedly agree with. No matter what you're playing, there's always some drama, be it comedic or tragic. This is definitely the happier of the two. But I think there's a way to find a way. Maybe I am exaggerating a bit. We want to make sure it still is even in the stroke, but finding that little
Yeah. Let's give that
and feel free to take it even slower if you like, if you just want to get the sensation in your hands. Can we try it one more time? I think it's sort of a little quiet, and actually, I think you could even take a bit more of a breath. It feels like you're starting a little bit from, and just starting with, not starting from just pure static, because that can either lead to like that harsh corner sometimes, or just starting from a place of tension is not going to set you up well. So I think maybe trying to like maybe experiment with starting either, if you're starting from the string, really making sure that you're not locking yourself in and there's no like 90-degree to it.
Okay.
Or if you are starting slightly from above the string, I'm doing it very slowly, but just really like getting the sensation, but really making sure that you're seeing the plane coming in for landing kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I think when I first look at this excerpt, I see that there's piano first and then the forte.
Yes.
The next time, and I get like, oh, I have to make it a difference.
Yeah, and it's so mean that they ask you. I feel like, this is my own perception, take it with a grain of salt, but I feel like auditions, the way that you play in an audition, in many ways is very different from how you would actually play in an orchestra. So I think you have to be a bit more soloistic when it comes to orchestral excerpts. So it is piano, and we do want that contrast between piano and forte, but I think a lot of that can be done with character, with maybe vibrato, or I think color is the big one, but I think you can get away with starting a little bit stronger.
Okay.
I'll let you know if it's like too loud or anything, but yeah, I don't want you to feel like you have to worry so much about playing soft enough. I feel like it's a lot easier to give more than it is to like, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'll try it.
One more time. Did the piano feel any more comfortable? Did it feel?
I don't know that I played it any louder.
Okay.
Was it?
It was a bit slightly. I feel like the very beginning especially is still, there's almost like I realize I may have talked myself into a corner trying to give you too many things to think about at once in regards to like, I want you to phrase, but also you can play it louder but quieter. So I'd say, maybe I guess going forward, try and record yourself and listen back here and there to see if what you want is coming across, because it was a bit louder, but I think you can get away with even more.
A little more.
But for now, I don't want to drill too much on just the beginning.
Okay.
So I think, what are you doing technically in your mind to differentiate between piano and forte? What physically are you doing to contrast the two?
When the forte comes, I put in my part more bow.
Okay.
That time that I just played it, I tried to add a little more vibrato, especially in the dotted quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll just experiment more with the piano, and like you said, I will record.
I agree that there is, to an extent, more bow that can be used. I would be careful not to use too much bow, especially because this can really go fast. I actually think when it comes to an audition, you may want to try and see about pushing a few clicks faster. I think it's around 132 is the usual like tempo kind of thing, but if we're moving too much, this is something I definitely struggle with. But too much bow at that speed can make it even harder for coordination, for cleanliness. So just really finding that sweet spot of if you're using too much bow, it locks.
True.
So it's like the economy of bow, finding that the good efficiency of what will get you that loud loud sound while also not working too hard so you don't tire yourself out, but you also don't end up in a part of the bow that isn't where you want to be.
Makes sense.
Have you ever done work in this loud section of just open string? Anything like that?
I have, yeah.
Okay. Would you mind trying that for me, like right now, just looping those 2 bars, so that pattern, and playing loud, but really finding a way to sinking into the string. I feel you could. There's a way. It feels like you're playing on the string right now, which of course we're doing.
Yeah.
But almost feeling like you're playing almost half an inch under the string, feeling the same as if the hairs are going through towards the body of the instrument, so it can really ring.
Okay.
So, I guess under tempo maybe something like that.
Okay.
And now, would you mind trying that just a little bit faster? So like. And now, can you try it with just a little bit less bow? So I think whatever you had, maybe like 3/4 of that, but still trying to keep that same volume. So.
That felt better.
I'm feeling more core to the sound, especially. And when it comes to coordination of this part, I've found it most helpful to initially separate between right and left hand, so what we were doing, and then when it comes to the left hand, I base it in just the blocked chords and then the moving notes around it. So for that first harmony we have, so that's kind of what it is, and then just the other 2 at first, so like, so the 5th is not going to move, that's always going to be there. The only moving chords in the left hand are just, so in my mind, just blocking that doesn't have to move, giving myself as few things to think about as possible in these more chaotic moments.
Yeah.
And then of course for the second one, the same thing. And what if we try and build on that now? Sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm skipping steps. But, so.
Just keep the 5th down?
Yes.
Okay.
For, if you wouldn't mind trying that.
Yeah. Wait.
The first, so there is the 5th.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll start again.
No worries. Yes, I think, especially for that second harmony, that'll really help in terms of simplifying it, because of that. If you're anything like me, I'm very good at making things that shouldn't have to be hard.
Yeah.
But I think having just that framework will be a lot easier to approach it, because in this fast things, it's very easy to feel like nope, 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 and then you're trying to move everything at once. But if you can just, that does not move for like 2 bars. That does not move for 2 bars. And then it just streamlines the process, and I think will really help with the coordination. I want to double check how we are for time. All right. Um, is are there any other, I guess, overarching questions that you currently have, or things in specific that you'd really like to work on?
What is something I can do to overall clean it up?
Clean it up.
With coordination?
I think for me, I mean, there's the like the good old rhythms. I mean, of course, those help. There's the building one note at a time. So I think like the nastiest part, I guess, finger coordination wise for me is.
Me too.
So I think. Not that fast, but just that. I think it's like the delay method or something, where you literally have to strip it down to so slow. It seems almost painfully slow, but almost treat it as like a meditative way to practice, because the entire point of taking it so slow is that you not only are getting the notes so internalized, which I'm sure they are, because we drill these day in, day out, but it's also to help internalize the physicality, how your hand feels, but most importantly, the transitions between notes. That, I think, is the part that we are neglecting in most of our practice, because we know what the notes are, but when the pressure comes, it's not practicing. It's not that we didn't practice the B flat and the A flat. It's the lift and the transition from down to up kind of thing. I think it's really connecting those mini bridges at a very slow starting point. It may feel very tedious at first, but I think that is a way that helps outside of the excerpt as well. It helps make things, in the long run, it will make things a lot easier and more efficient cleaning up.
It'll internalize it.
Yes, and then on top of that, approaching it starting from this very slow meditative standpoint will greatly help with the mindset, because I know I'm very guilty of a lot of the more technical excerpts like this, like the Schumann, like insert fast excerpt here. There's always that thing in the back of your mind of like, this is really fast, there are a lot of notes kind of thing. But if every time you started one of these excerpts, you just went with not only does it help reinforce the practice, and it gives you the evidence logically that I know these and I can play it slow. I can, like, in the process you speed it up, it becomes more comfortable, but then you also have that mental association of like, oh, this is a calming exercise for me in a way. So I think that would be very helpful. Would you mind maybe starting at the forte,
Okay.
so the second time, and I think for now, at least in this process, use a full bow for each note, go nice and slow. I think you can keep the slur in the bowing or whatever, but like. So not even needing to necessarily worry about rhythm, but really just finding the way to relax and paying attention to the transitions between the notes, if
So
that makes sense.
Should I keep the rhythm or just go note by note?
I would say go note by note, but keep the slurs, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry to stop you so quickly, but I find it is very important when I'm trying to like really dig into excerpts the second anything feels remotely like, if you feel any physical hesitation or mental hesitation in any way, and just from my perception, the very first instance of that I saw
Yeah.
was the string crossing, and I think the preparation of that, one of my high school orchestra teachers said that music is a series of preparations, and he would always say that, and he said it all the time to stick it in our heads,
I love
and
that.
it worked, but it makes sense. And so I think the first thing to practice in this agonizingly slow tempo is, what is the most comfortable way, both physically in terms of making sure you're engaged but not tense, to find that pesky fourth finger, to find if you want to get down to it, like in the right hand, what am I engaging in my hand to really smooth out that string crossing at that slow of a tempo? And if you are placing the fourth down finger before, which I think you should,
Yeah.
how you're getting there. So almost taking everything in slow motion.
Okay.
So you find placing. So left hand is all set, but now. So it feels like a lot of almost overthinking in the moment, but it's a process that will eventually speed itself up. Can you try that one more time, please?
And then how many times would you say to repeat that so it stays?
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do it until you go crazy. But I would treat it almost like, I'm trying to think of an analogy. I would say just a little bit each day. So I would say maybe 3 or 4 times, just something. It's kind of how a problem I face is when I've come across an issue, I'm like, I need to perfect it right here, right now. But one of the biggest things that helps in terms of seeing progress makes progress, but I mean, being process oriented versus product oriented, and that's something I work on to this day. But really, the comfort and the ease will come as long as you're being consistent. So I'd say do it a few times. I would say like 3 or 4 times in a given moment, and then you can of course move on to different things. I recognize it might feel like a slog at first, but it really will pay dividends as you continue, because there needs to be a balance of like, this slow meticulous work is obviously very different from playing it fast, but really making sure that you have playing this slow really, in not a negative way, exposes your playing in a lot of ways. That's very enlightening. Not good or bad, it just shows you that, like, for example, if I'm gonna try it myself, I should do the fingering I do. Sorry, I do slightly different from you. Something I'm actually noticing myself, the placement of the fourth finger. Haven't even made it 3 notes in, but like. why is my pinky already tensing up? Because I'm over anticipating? Is it because, and of course when I don't think about it, then it's fine, but like, I am noticing in just that short phrase, I've noticed like the pinky thing, but I'm not on that double up. I'm not setting as clearly as I would like. Also, with the fingering that I have a string crossing, so that's something different to consider. So those are two spots that I can do more with the slow preparation. So if I wanted to break that up, really making sure that both are set on the string and I'm not, because that can lead to oops, or that can lead to oops.
Yeah.
But I am in control of my bow at any given point, so I'm not creating that crunch like I just did, but my hand feels balanced. I'm able to create a warm sound throughout, but then also navigate the string crossing as well at that speed. And it really is, it's draining, but that's what excerpts are. But I think that grueling process has been what's been most helpful, at least for me. And there are all kinds of ways to like modify, build it on yourself. And I think that can translate into scales and arpeggios as well, in terms of like if you're doing like a scale, like okay, prep the next. I find especially coming down the scale is where I really need to focus on that. Like that same motion, that same physicality can be taken out of the context of the excerpt and put into your warm-ups, into your scales, into your arpeggios, anything like that.
Okay.
Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, it really does. It's
Any
a great
other
reminder.
any other quick questions or anything that you have?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, thank you very much.